He is shocking everyone. Yes, the Oilers have a diamond in the rough down with their farm team in Bakersfield. All that and more today on Oilers Digest as we also preview tomorrow night's game against the Boston Bruins as the Oilers continue their January road trip. All that and more today on Oilers Digest. But first, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so. Yes, we are 52 subscribers away from 2,500, our next big milestone. For any and all Oiler news, folks, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting for? And what are we waiting for with this diamond in the rough when it comes to an Oil streak? Not only are the big boys in Edmonton playing up to the potential, the Oilers' top prospect, Matt Savoie, also making a name for himself here from Eric Friesen. Oilers' top prospect, Matt Savoie, drafted 9th overall by the Buffalo Sabres in 2022, who the Oilers acquired in exchange for Ryan McLeod. Scored a goal in 3 points in a 5-4 overtime win for the Bakersfield Condors last night. Of course, this was 2 games ago for the Bakersfield Condors. They did lose last night 4-1 to the Henderson Silver Knights. The Vegas farm team there. It's always Vegas that seems to throw a wrench into the plan every single time. But Savoie still now has 5 goals and 12 points in his last 6 AHL games, which is good for 2 points per game. I mean, that is phenomenal news. I mean, Savoie did have a slow start to the season for the Condors, but I mean, he's a rookie. I mean, what else can you really expect? You can't expect him to light the world on fire from day one, but he is slowly starting to find his way through the pro rankings, of course. When it comes to calling up Savoie, the Oilers don't have a plan to call him up soon. They wanted to let him, sort of marinate in Bakersfield for the first half of the season, and he will not be recalled unless things get very dire in Edmonton. And I wouldn't expect Savoie to be nothing but a top 6 forward. That's pretty much what he's built for in the future for the Edmonton Oilers, whether it's next to Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. I know Leon Draisaitl prefers the smaller, speedy forwards. Of course, you saw him next to you with Dylan Holloway, Kyler Yamamoto, so on and so forth. So to see Savoie and Draisaitl, that pair in the future would be phenomenal. But there's no rush to calling them up anytime soon. The Oilers, of course, were awful with that in the early 2010s there with their drafting there, and then expecting their first, second, third round picks to be day one NHL players, and that is exactly not how it works in the organization anymore. But Savoie, top 5 in AHL rookie scoring there, 29 games, 9 goals, 15 assists, good enough for 24 points there. Of course, he plays everything in Bakersfield, power play, PK, 5-on-5 specialist, you name it, he does it all in Bakersfield, and that's exactly what you need for him to do in this, to develop properly in Bakersfield. Let him get a taste of everything. That way, when he comes up to the big club, he can bring what he learned in Bakersfield and make the team all that much better. Not only that, but he is also 1 point off of the team lead in Bakersfield, 1 point behind Seth Griffith, and a few points above Noah Phillip, who the Oilers, closer to the end of the month, if need be, will call Noah Phillip up. I know many were begging for Noah Phillip to, be called up again. Of course, he was brought up in the wake of Connor McDavid's injury, pardon me, in October. But Noah Phillip should see him in an Oiler jersey pretty soon there. And, that's a bit of a silver lining here for Savoie in the Condors, as the Condors pretty close to the bottom of the AHL Pacific Division. You can see they're pretty front-loaded with Calgary, San Jose, and LA's farm team, the Ontario Reign, of course. In the AHL, winning isn't exactly everything. It's more of a development league for many of the big clubs. And then, of course, you have Calgary, who isn't doing too well this year in the NHL. So, you know what? I guess the AHL, again, that's something they can brag about. But Savoie, again, phenomenal development. I wasn't too worried about him at the start of the season, though many were saying, is he a bust? It's far too early to, put a label on him like that. But, I mean, setting the world on fire in Bakersfield, and that's exactly what you love to see. What we also love to see for the Edmonton Oilers is the type of streak they've been on since November 23rd. Bit of a cherry-picked date, but I mean, the narrative works in Edmonton's favor. From Bob Stauffer here, the Oilers, since that date, are 14-3-1 in their top 4 in a lot of these categories here. Points percentage, 806 second. Goals for per game, 3.80 first. Goals against per game, 2.33 third. No matter how many people were complaining about the Oilers goaltending. Was I one of them? Maybe. but it's gotten a whole lot better. And then the special teams just phenomenal. Second and fourth in the 5-on-5 expected goals for, fourth in the National Hockey League since that time. And Stuart Skinner's last 12 starts, 9-2-1 with a 922 save percentage and a 2.17 goals against average. And he will get the start tomorrow night at TD Garden against the Boston Bruins in a well-deserved start, might I add. And of course, Skinner, since the disastrous start to the season there, October 9th, he started the season against the Winnipeg Jets to November 20th. Skinner, he was near the bottom for a lot of these categories, 28th, 30th, and tied for 28th in goals against average, save percentage, and then goals saved above expected per 60. And you can see on the right side there, he's now 7th, 8th, and 7th. So top 8 for all three of these categories from the dates of November 21st to January 5th. So it's a breath of fresh air here for Stuart Skinner. Of course, slow start did not put him down in the slightest. And when it comes to, Kris Knoblauch in the Edmonton Oilers, in Jeff Skinner, who will be on the third line tomorrow night. He said he's been working hard to get his game back to where it should be. Now hopefully building on that and getting rewarded with some more ice time and opportunities. His work ethic has been what it needs to be. I think he's been working hard on the defensive details of our game. But the most important thing to any player, whether you're a goalie, defenseman, or forward, and especially a goal scorer, is confidence. And you're starting to see him enjoying the game, smiling, having fun, and feeling better with the puck. And of course, when it comes to, the Oilers and trying to, shoehorn players into a specific line or role, Kris Knoblauch is not, he's not having any of that. He says you're trying to make the most of the players you have. And I think as time has gone on, your top six identity and bottom six identity has changed. Now you got power forwards that are on your top six who have that role and play a certain style. There are a lot of successful teams that have had that. And of course, the lines in pairings from Monday's practice against, or for tomorrow's game against the Boston Bruins from Tony Bright here. The top two lines do stay the same here with Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, and Connor Brown. And then Vasily Podkolzin, Leon Draisaitl, and Victor Arvidsson. And you can see there the third and fourth lines have changed. It's a bit of an interesting third line here for the Oilers. One that I think might work with Jeff Skinner, Adam Henrique, and Zach Hyman. Of course, you have Hyman sort of driving his own line yet again, making the Oilers much, much deeper. And then Knoblauch putting that trust into Jeff Skinner and sort of trying to help Adam Henrique out by giving him, a little, some better line mates, to say the least here with Skinner and Hyman to sort of get him back on track. And of course, nothing changes within the defense or goaltending tandem with Josh Brown being the extra defenseman. And I certainly hope he stays there, but he's just insurance here for the Oilers on this road trip. And with Hyman, Skinner, and Henrique, it's been very limited minutes they've had together, but it's been proven to work there. A little under 6 minutes, but the stats you can see there, Corsi 4 percentage, 64%, Fenwick 54%. They've been on the ice for a goal together and expected goals for at .71. So, again, very limited sample size here, but it could work. But, yes, they are up against the Boston Bruins tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain. Bit of an earlier start, which I don't think any of us will complain about. But just taking a look at the Boston Bruins and their lineup, it's not too much different from the last time these two teams met before Christmas there, with Morgan Geekie, Pavel Zacha, and Dave Pastrnak, who seem to be heating up these past couple games for the Bruins. Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, and Morgan Geekie. And then Oliver Wahlstrom, Trent Frederick, and Justin Brazeau. And finally here on their fourth line, John Beecher, Mark Haslick, and Cole Koepke. On the back end, you're still without Hampus Lindholm here. Parker Wotherspoon and Charlie McAvoy, Nikita Zadorov and Brandon Carlo, Mason Lohrei and Andrew Peeke. And of course, the catalyst for the Bruins this season so far has been goaltending, and Jeremy Swayman is projected to get to the start tomorrow night. Of course, just got this huge payday this past summer, but hasn't played up to his potential so far, with a 2.91 goals against average and a .891 save percentage. And of course, all over the place here in his last 10 games. Of course, he did have a shutout against the Blue Jackets on December 28th, but other than that, all over the place here, from an 885 against the Flyers. Again, another 885 against the Edmonton Oilers when they had that overtime thriller, and a 926. So you never know which Swayman you are going to get, and that helps the Oilers more than it does the Bruins, because inconsistency is not fun. Of course, the Bruins, a very strange team, third in the Atlantic, 5 points behind the Florida Panthers there, and 9 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs. But you can see there, Bruins lost their last 4, and they're 4-4-2 in their last 10, and a goal differential of -20. So they can barely score, but they're not getting the saves. But when they do win, it is very, very narrow, and hopefully the Oilers can sort of, work the Bruins into a track meet, which would help the Oilers tremendously. As you can see there, the Boston Bruins 9-6-3 outside of the Eastern Conference there. So again, bodes well for the Edmonton Oilers, who have already seen them once this season. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Matt Savoie so far with the Bakersfield Condors. Have you watched much of him? Are you excited to see him eventually with the Edmonton Oilers, whenever that may be? And let me know your thoughts on tomorrow night's game against the Boston Bruins. That is it for today's video. Make sure you subscribe here to the channel as we are on the road to 2,500 subscribers. Take care. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll see you soon. I'm Matt.